Jordo here. Hello, everybody. Mike Vrabel possibly resigning. Um, resigning. I don't know if I just said resigning. Bruins win game five, make it go six. Celtics make me eat my words in my last video. They lose it. A little bit of Red Sox news as well. Nothing too much with the Red Sox right now. I guess we'll just start with the little bit of Red Sox news I have. Just basically Crochet put on the 15-day IL for shoulder inflammation. Not sure how big of a deal this is. Um, Baseball, again, it's kind of the bottom sport for me. But just of what I follow, it's just such a long season. But their injury is a little different. I don't know if the 15-day IL means then he has to go through a rehab stint, or if it's just 15 days and we'll see how he feels, or if they think 15 days he should be good to go. So once we hear a little bit more news on his injury and stuff, we'll touch on that some more. Um, Alex Cora basically sent an email that he has faith in the Red. Basically responded to his resignation with a thank you to the organization and all the players. Pretty bit of a classy move by him after being let go. Has faith in the team to pick it back up and get things going. Mookie Betts was questioned. I think it's weird we still have reporters asking Mookie Betts Red Sox questions because now he's been a Dodger more than he's been a Red Sox. But I think he's always going to be tied with that team because that's where he made his name. And I think everybody does know that we cheaped out and didn't take him. So he's always spoken positively for the Red Sox. So I did think it was nice of them to ask him questions about it. And he said that's the Red Sox and Cora's business and stayed out of it. I think that's a pro move, and that's how we love Mookie and Boston, man, right? He was all about being a classy guy and focusing on the game and doing his job. But the next thing I want to get into, I want to touch on some Patriots stuff. One of the things that's been annoying me, and it's been a while, but now it's become like this whole spin that isn't how things actually were in that present time. And what I'm getting at is the strength of schedule thing. We did end up with the easiest schedule in the league last season after the season was over, right? All those teams that came out and projected to do this and that did other things. We were not the easiest schedule. I'm going to read a quote, and this is why I'm annoyed, okay? Um, People are saying the Patriots are going to struggle with a mix of the Vrabel stuff, but then the thing they're really sourcing in is that we now have the sixth hardest schedule in the league after having the easiest schedule last season. That's true in certain aspects, but not all the way. That's not all the way true. We actually had the sixth easiest schedule going into week one last season, and we were not projected to be a 500 team. So we had the sixth easiest schedule. We were not projected to win half of our games that we played. We then go and win freaking all the games, damn near, and ended up with the easiest schedule because injuries happened and things out of the Patriots' control happened, and that was their fault. They're punished in the media for it now, right? And it's just a coping mechanism. They made it to the Super Bowl one way or another. They were the second best football team in the NFL. I just don't care. Whether injuries played a factor in that does not matter. Being healthy is part of the sport. You need to be on the field to play, right? So, but yeah, we had the sixth easiest schedule, projected under 500, and now people are saying we have the easiest schedule, hard sixes, we're going to struggle. We had a young team. We battled through a season. We made it to a Super Bowl. The team is better than it was going into last season, okay? Now, I'm not saying we're going to win 14 games again. I'm not saying we're going to be a super team. I see us being over a 500 team very easily. Drake May has had a year to develop. If we bring in AJ Brown, that will be a big step towards us winning 11, 12, 13, 14 games. I think that will make a big difference. Stephon Diggs did a good job. He was past his prime. AJ Brown is in his prime. AJ Brown is showed last season what he can still do. Stephon Diggs kind of had the injury and was in Houston. Just had a lot of stuff going on from his last good season to when he was here. There was a big middle. AJ Brown just had a good season in Philly on a not great throwing team. So I don't see that being any blemish on the Patriots. A lot of people are talking about the locker room fallout with the whole Vrabel incident. The Patriots spoke out. They want to keep him. They don't want him to resign. They don't want to fire him. And I don't think they should. I don't think he should. It really is a personal thing. It's a personal issue. It really sucks when you are under the scope of the media because they will not let things go like that, especially when it's unfaithfulness to your family and you have children. People do, that does matter. I don't condone the cheating or anything, but I also think people's personal lives and choices are their own, and that just is what it is. It doesn't mean he's a bad guy. Maybe he made a bad choice. Maybe he got caught in a moment of weakness. There's so many things, and I'm not going to here to speculate on that. We're going to ignore that side of things. We're just going to talk football, right? Patriots, how it'll affect us. A lot of people were saying that will really hurt the locker room. Guys won't respect their coach because of the unfaithfulness and having the children. And again, I don't want to get into this, but pro athletes, man, they're not the most loyal people. They cheat and they party and they have their fun. And some guys might get affected by it, but they're all pros and we're there to play football. There's guys in locker rooms that have gotten off of, like, you don't think the Chiefs locker room? I don't think Rashee Rice's incident is the reason the Chiefs were struggling, right? Like I think people can separate that stuff unless it's an inner team thing, like say one guy bangs another guy's wife. That's a different issue. Um, but it's unrelated to the Patriots. I think there's a lot of pros in that locker room. A lot of guys that respect Vrabel from the way his work ethic and what he does. I think they'll look past this. I think that's all media spin. Let's not worry about any of that. Um, we know a lot of these players respect Vrabel. He's a very well respected coach. He was a Patriot. He knows the Patriot way. I just don't see a locker room fallout being because of this. There could be other things that lead to it. Um, Another weird thing with the Patriots too. They fired the director of scouting. What was his name? Marshall Olium, something close to that. Olium today because they weren't happy with his draft picks for after round two. Um, my issue with this is what what was the issue, right? We did a good job in round one, traded up, got the tackle. His name escapes me. Let me pull up the draft order. That way I can just you can just rattle names off to you guys. It doesn't look. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not great with names. So, pulling that up. I type like an old man. Yeah. So we grabbed Lomu. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I'll never be good at pronouncing names, so you can just make fun of me for that forever. It's fine. Trying to yeah. So the tackle to Utah, Caleb Lamu. Yeah, trade up, got him. Cool, great pick, great move. I think he's gonna come right in, and make a difference on this O line right away. Round two, we got the edge from Illinois, Gabe Jackass, Yakas. I don't know. Again, names not my specialty, right? A lot of ways to pronounce a lot of names. I played hockey, played people from a lot of different countries. It's hard to pronounce names when you don't know how to, there's a lot of different emphasis on different letters. But another great pick. They traded up, got him, traded up 8 spots, gave up fourth and a sixth to get up there too. But good picks. But then after that, this is where I just don't this doesn't make sense to me. And maybe obviously these guys know football better than I do. Maybe you do as well. But rounds 3 through 7 feel like punts anyways. You go out and get positions of need, right? And you hope the guys you scouted and you grab and you're able to get and attain and get on the team and bring in OTAs give you the best chance to make a difference in your lineup one day, one way or another, or develop into somebody. I didn't hate the pick of Eli Raridon from Notre Dame. Like I didn't the tight end. I think that's a good pick. Henry's getting old. I don't even know if we have Hooper around still. I need to look because I'm not butchering this stuff. I haven't fully caught up on what the roster and depth chart have been looking like after the draft. I don't even remember if we let Hooper walk or we took him back. No, so he's gone. We got Julian Hill. Eli Raridon charts in at the tight end 3. I don't see a problem with that pick. Good pass blocker, decent. Didn't have great stats in college with the catching, but all in all, not many tight ends. A lot of college systems don't really throw the ball to tight ends a lot, anyways. You get rare instances like Bowers and stuff, or like Michael Mayer. But look at that works. Michael Mayer has been replaced by Bowers in Las Vegas, right? So obviously they scouted him wrong, or there's a reason they went out and got Bowers. I know Bowers is an elite talent, but Michael Mayer was one of those guys in college as a tight end, right? And he's kind of nobody in the NFL. So I think it's hard to go off of just those stats when evaluating tight ends, especially young ones. But they fired him because they weren't happy with the picks after round 2. And like I said, they're kind of punts, but we got a cornerback from Wake Forest, another tackle from Texas A&M. That seems like 2 needs we do need to address. We still have guys, they're not going to come in and start, but not many players do after round 3. There's not much of an expectation there. And I thought the round 3 pick of tight end was a pretty good idea. Get that guy in, maybe learning under Henry. You never know. We got a linebacker from TCU in round 6, and then a quarterback from Texas Tech in round 7. Just get a guy on the roster. And then a running back from Alabama, Jam Miller, um, which wasn't a bad pick. The guy started for Alabama, I think. Yeah. The past 2 seasons, he was their starting running back. I don't hate that coming out of a good system. You never know what you can get guys like that. We have Travion Henderson. We don't need to take a running back any earlier. He's kind of shown a lot of promise, but again, that's just a good depth piece. And you never know what can happen with these guys, right? What they can turn into. But getting a guy in the 7th round out of Alabama as a starter, I just feel like that's an okay pick. And then we got the Boston College edge, Hutchins, he was pretty good too. I guess where I'm confused is why are we firing a guy 2 days after, I don't know, I mean 3-4 days after the draft. Maybe I would understand next year, right before the draft, if they were like, oh, yeah, I don't know, this guy, all of his draft picks they got cut in OTAs and blah. It's too early for that. If they didn't like the round 1 pick and the round 2 pick, then I would understand. I would be like, okay, yeah, he up the whole draft. The Bruins did that a long time ago when they didn't take Barzal, they took Zachary Sentchen. I don't think the kid even ever played that many games in the AHL. Never mind the NHL. They took him in the 16th pick, I think, in the first round. That's fireable. That's fireable. You miss out on Matt Barzal, and there's some other players in that draft. Maybe I can tie that into the Bruins here. I'll go look that up, or maybe that'll come up again. I always talk about that because I still can't get over Zachary Sentchen. We could have gotten the 2nd round very easily. He was like a 4th, 5th round projected pick. You don't reach in the 1st round for guys that aren't going to get taken in the 2nd round, right? But yeah, that just didn't make sense to me. That was another one of those things. Whatever's going on in New England, they must be trying to distract from the Vrabel thing or something. I have no idea. We're going to get into the Celtics game here first. We'll do the Bruins last. I should have had this stuff pulled up. I kind of just spontaneously decided to make this video, so I'm going to pull up the game stats. The Celtics did kind of get whooped. They shot poorly from 3. I wasn't too impressed with. You know what I'm never impressed with? Okay, and people always blame this on Tatum, but when you have a star, you have to play a system, like a superstar, a top 5 to 8 player in the league. You have to play a system around him. So yes, the Celtics did play differently this season with Tatum off the court and Brown being the guy. That was to get the results and to get that team playing the way they need to play, and it was good. It worked. This team is better with Jason Tatum. I don't want to hear. I mean, he had a great game. He had 24 points, 16 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. I mean, he didn't really do anything wrong. He shot 4 for 12 from 3, but 0 for 4 from Derek White, 1 for 4 for Jaylen Brown, 2 for 5 Sam Hauser, 1 for 5 Peyton Pritchard. Vucevic 2 for 5. No one shot good from the 3. And the problem with this team, I have said this in previous videos and everybody talks about it, when the 3 ball isn't falling, we don't have another game plan. And the problem with that is, let's go to the team stats. So we lost by almost 20, 16. We shot 40% from the field. They shot 50. Also terrible at the free throw line, 60%. Embarrassing. You gotta shoot 75% from the line. It's okay to have a guy like a big man or one guy that kind of struggles on the loop. You can't all struggle at the free throw line. I mean, Tatum went 0 for 2 at one point. Brown went 0 for 2 at one point. We shot 28% from the 3. The Sixers shot 65 or 35. 65 would have been crazy. We would have lost by 100. 35%. But the issue is not so much, right, the struggling at the 3-point line. That is our downfall. But we take about 20 seconds to realize, oh shit, we need to get inside and get to the paint and try to create something else. The 3's not open or it's not falling. And then they only have 4 seconds, so you get guys running in and just kicking out to somebody and they chuck up a 3. Or a guy running and taking a double contested. Or there's no really setups for screens and off-ball cuts into the paint very often. It's very isometric between Tatum and Brown kind of just doing their thing for 20 seconds. And that's okay when it's working, but when it's not, we got to do something else. You know, that's the main problem. I still think we look good on the boards. No block shots, which, you know, that means we're a little weak in the paint, but they were shooting really well, so I don't know how many actual shots out in the paint. I mean, they shot 15 for 42 from three. We were 11 for 39. We also did take 11 more field goals than them and make three less, which is bad, bad, bad shooting. Um, but the difference was the free throw line 14 for 23, 20 to 23. That's 6 points. That makes it a 10-point game. And then the difference is they shot a little bit better. But if we get into the paint, that's five instead of five threes. Let's just do math like in a perfect world. If they stopped shooting those threes in the second half and they kind of tried to get into the paint and still knock down a couple threes, they probably still could have made 15 threes if they, or no, sorry, 11 threes, right? Even if they stopped taking threes. They still probably could have made 11 because things would have opened up and guys would have been a little more open. Derek White needs a little bit of an answer from the three-point line. He's not been good. I know his role is more of a defensive, guy and a creator, but what I don't like is we just don't find ways to get into the paint, right? So if we stopped shooting threes in the second, came out with a different game plan, and tried to penetrate, get in, get to the line more. I know we weren't great at the line, but get up, try to get those in. And Jaylen Brown has the worst whistle in the league. I still say this. He got fouled 5 or 6 times. It happens to everybody, and it's fine, but it's consistent with Jaylen Brown. I think it's because he speaks out, so the refs all talk, right? So they're going, okay, fuck this guy. We got a problem with him. That's just how it goes. But again, it comes with frustrations over built up things, right? So one time he didn't have a target on his back, but he felt like he did, so he spoke out, and then he got a target on his back, and then it just accumulates from there. But we don't find ways to get people open on backdoor cuts and baseline cuts and off screen ball movement, and there's just not much. Hey, calm down. My dog gets all rambunctious when I'm recording, man. He cool all day, and then I record, he starts getting starts cleaning himself on the camera, just on the couch. Come on, no room for baths on the couch, bro. He knows that, but yeah, all in all, disappointed. I will say I gotta touch on this. I cannot ignore this because I spoke out against Embiid last game, and I'm gonna do it again. But I'm also gonna apologize because he did shut me up and have a great game. 12 for 23, 9 for 10 from the line, 33, 4, and 8 with a block. I just need to reiterate, I still talk about his defensive effort. Maxey had 10 rebounds. That shouldn't happen. Joel Embiid kind of just walks through the lane and Maxey kind of runs in and picks up the slack. And that's fine. 10 rebounds is cool. They did rebound very well. They had 47 as a team. We did have 49, but my point is, we had 49, but Keita and Tatum had 30 between two of them. So, but Maxey had 10, and you could see if you watch it, he runs in and kind of plays off of Embiid, just catches it. He's not a horse. He's not Russell Westbrook, right? But he gets the boards because Embiid is still not great at defense. 33, 4, and 8 is great. He's scoring. He's always been that. You don't lose your scoring touch. But my point last week was still, as a team game, they are weaker defensively on the court, but also they're stronger offensively. So if the other team struggles to shoot and knock down shots like the Celtics do, Embiid is going to look better. If we attack the paint, he would stand out a little bit more, and you would see he's a little slow. He's not as physical. He kind of gets pushed around a little bit, but we don't expose that, right? I'm not a coach. I'm not an NBA player. I know that I would be targeting Embiid as much as I could. I would be really trying to get him involved in switches and covers, and they don't. And we shot bad, so he looked good, and that's good. He had a monster offensive game, and that's what he's going to do. But you got to take advantage of him defensively. It's the same thing with LeBron James. He's a little lazy to get back now. He's very lazy to get back. Once he's there, he's all right, but he's slow. He's lazy. He saves his energy, and teams need to take advantage of that. People need the spot where he is on the court, and if he doesn't have the ball, he's usually walking back on defense. Get down there and expose that. Get the open guy and just be waiting for that because he's not running often. And that's the same thing with Embiid. You got to take advantage of those guys that are weaker defensively. As they get older and they get hurt, that happens. He's still an elite offensive player. That's never been something I was talking about. But I just wanted to touch on that. Tyrese Maxey, still an animal. Like I said, love the kid's game, gritty, fast, can do everything. But yeah, so hopefully the Celtics bounce back. I really don't want to see this go 7. I really don't have the heart for Game 7. It's going to get sick to my stomach. We could be up 20, they make a three. I'm like, oh, this is it. We lose. But it's just how it is. Um, get into the Bruins game. They surprised me. I wouldn't say they played great hockey, but they got the win. And yeah, I usually have these stats up when I'm doing this, so you don't hear me clicking away on my keyboard typing. But I just, again, this is spontaneous. Kind of just sat down. I was actually gonna play some video games, and I was like, I gotta post a video, So, um, 2-1. The Pasta with a goal. Actually, Lyon had a pretty good game. I will say, Darlene is a scary player to watch, man. Every time he gets the puck, I'm like, oh my god, this it's like watching Ovi from defense. Like it's actually like crazy. Every time he gets like something is going hard and it's going on net and it's going to cause problems. Um, Lindholm scored, Pasta scored, both unassisted, I believe. Maybe one. Lindholm did have an assist on one on the game winner, but all in all, Swayman had a great game. I thought Swayman played. I actually thought Swayman was the reason had the chance to win that game. I thought we were under the same story of the rest of the series. We get stuck under pressure and suffocated. And I think it still comes down to our D-men are not fast enough. It's not that they're not good, but Buffalo gets the puck and they're up and out of that zone. They're not getting hemmed in because they have three very, very mobile defensemen and then three very solidly, like very good mobility defensemen. They don't really have a slow guy. I think if anything, maybe they got no, because Samuelson and Timmins, Stanley. I don't actually. Stanley's not on the ice enough for me to really notice him on Buffalo, but Samuelson, Byram, Power, Darlene, Timmins, they're all good skaters. I think they're all three of those five, if not four, are better skaters than McAvoy. Not better defensemen, but better skaters than McAvoy. And McAvoy's our best defenseman, so that tells you the difference in mobility, right? That I've been talking about. It's not the goalies played really well. Buffalo's defense is scary, but all in all, I liked our effort. It was a lot better than the last game. I thought we gave up and but now it looked like we wanted to be there. We wanted to win. I was going crazy when we scored the breakaway. I thought that was a great pass. People said it was offsides. It wasn't. I just want to clarify the offsides rule has been changed. That your foot does not have to be on the ice to be onside. It just has to be over the blue line. That is a rule change that I think has happened just this year, or maybe it was last year. I can't remember exactly when it happened, but so that was not offsides. And if you actually, the picture they show, the puck is about 3 inches past the blue line in the freeze frame. Rewind it to the actual spot where it would be considered offsides. His foot is very clearly on the line. So it's not even there's no debate there. That wasn't offsides. I know that if the roles were reversed, I'd be like, oh, that's offsides. This is what you do when your team loses, and especially when it's something like that, and you play so good and you don't quite get the results. I thought Buffalo still outplayed us, but I'm gonna pull the team stats again. We did outshoot them, 29-25. That was good. Very good on the faceoff dots, 60%, just under 59.6. That's how you win games. Faceoffs are one of the most important parts of hockey, and a lot of youth coaches and juniors and even in colleges, they don't emphasize enough face-off work. They say, oh, you're just good or you're bad. You need to get guys on the dot in practice. You need to have a kind of a center just battle drill and working on different stuff and winning face-offs in certain situations. You can go down in one corner and do it in one of the dots or anywhere on the ice and then get the other guys doing other work, but you have to work on face-offs. 60%, that means offensive zone, right? You win that draw, now you're in pressure. You lose that draw, they're probably getting it out. Defensive zone, you alleviate the pressure. If they win in your D zone, you're under pressure, right? Faceoff is a very important part of hockey. Even the first faceoff of the game, that kind of gets things going. I've had a theory, usually a team that wins that first faceoff, they get the momentum, and maybe that's not true, but just from my playing days, I've always felt like if we win that first draw, we're going for 4 or 5 minutes before they come down and finally get their own stuff going. It just feels like a little bit of a mental thing. 24 block shots to 16 for the Bruins, very good. 43-27. That's what we have to do to win series. We have to be physical because we don't have the skill to outskill these teams. Abysmal on the power play, 0 for 3. Buffalo is 1 for 3, but we're not very good on the power play right now, and I think that comes down to the lack of skilled mobile defensemen and star power on offense. Buffalo's power play is scary, but that's because they have so many weapons. Darlene and Thompson are almost a two-man power play. You can put three people out there and they'll control most of that. And then you can put Byram and Powers on the second unit with a bunch of guys, and that's going to be a problem too. Um, all in all, I feel very opposite about the Celtics and the Bruins. Right, they're kind of switching results. I don't feel like the Bruins are going to win it, even if it goes seven. I feel like the Celtics are going to win it, even if it goes seven. But they both have things they need to work on. The Celtics need to stop dying by the three ball. That's what kills them. And the Bruins need to stop sitting back and inviting pressure. They need to hit everybody. They need like 60 hits a game. They should be finishing every hit because that adds up over the course of a game. Guys get more tired. They get sore. They're less willing to make that extra step because they don't want to get lit up again. They're sore, right? We need to assert. That's what Florida did to us a couple of years ago when we had the best regular season of all time. Florida beat the shit out of us. They grinded us down. We didn't even look like we wanted to be on the ice. And that was the best regular season of all time. Physicality stopped that. And that Bruins team was going to win the cup if we got past Florida. I don't care. But they played the way they knew to beat us, beat the crap out of us. And then they did it for a couple more years. That's what they did. They just beat the crap out of everybody. And that works in hockey. You can say football is the most physical sport. It's a lot easier to fall on grass than it is ice. You ever fallen in the summer versus in the winter? You don't like falling in the winter. Especially when you're sliding into a wall instead of going out of bounds. You know what I mean? Like, things hurt. Those boards are not forgiving. I know a lot of you that watch hockey played hockey, but like if you've never played hockey, like those boards look like they give a lot. You see it move. They have a little bit of give. It's like hitting a cement wall. Some stadiums it is actually like hitting a cement wall because it depends on how they build behind the boards. Some places build the cement up and it's like it's literally just hitting into a cement wall. There's no give. I played in some rinks in my career and those are the rinks where I dump that puck in. I'm not taking a hit. Like I'm not breaking my collarbone because they built the stadium like crap. Most NHL rinks aren't built like that, but there's just so many factors into how the boards feel. They're not all exactly the same. Same as football fields with elevation and whatever. Like everything's different. But yeah, hey, I hope the Bruins can get it done in seven. I know the Celtics will, but I hope we will as well. Hi, buddy. Yeah, but that does it for today. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys think. The Celtics, the Bruins, can they get it done? How many games? 6 or 7? Also, do you think Vrabel should step down? Do you think it's going to be a problem? And are you excited for the Red Sox going forward, or are you kind of nervous getting rid of Cora, even though we struggled? He is one of the best skippers in baseball, so it is. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching.